Welcome back to the Education Table. I'm Katie Novak, and today we're tackling a question I hear all the time. Where do paraprofessionals fit into UDL? It's a great question, and I completely understand why it comes up. When we talk about designing flexible learning environments and removing barriers, it can sound like it's a teacher's job. But here is the truth. Paraprofessionals are essential to making UDL a reality in the classrooms they support. So today, we'll do what we always do here at the Education Table. A story, a little research, and some concrete strategies you can use right away. Let me tell you a quick story about how I learned to golf. When I first started, I was terrible. My teenage son was so disappointed that I took it upon myself to take some lessons. My instructor didn't just stand back and let me fail. First, he modeled what to do, how to grip the club. I was way off on my grip, where to place my feet, and how to follow through. Then he coached me through it, giving feedback in real time, correcting my form, and handing me different clubs to experiment with until I found the one that worked best for me. He even gave me tools and scaffolds, like little markers for my stance and visual cues to help me check my angle. But after a while, something shifted. He started to step back. He'd watch me swing and say, "How did that feel? And what advice would you like from me?" He stopped telling me what to do and started asking me what I noticed. That's when I realized I was in my learning zone. In education, Lev Vygotsky, who's this famous Russian psychologist, called this the zone of proximal development. That's the sweet spot between what we can do on our own and what we can do with support. And that is exactly what paraeducators help students to do every day. You model, you scaffold, you give students the tools they need, and then you fade support so they can find their own rhythm and confidence. Eventually, just like me on the golf course, your students take the swing, pun totally intended, themselves. So let's check out the research on why this works. There's growing evidence about the power of indirect support from paraeducators, support that builds autonomy instead of dependence. A 2022 article in Teaching Exceptional Children synthesized decades of best practices and called for a shift away from one-on-one prompting or giving answers, which can unintentionally build dependence. Instead, the research recommends that paraeducators act as facilitators, modeling strategies, fading assistance over time, and encouraging students to make choices, try, and revise. This matters because many students with disabilities believe they need help, and when support comes too fast or too often, it can lower expectations and limit growth. Universal Design for Learning flips that script. Because every learner has variability, every learner needs options, and every learner benefits from scaffolded independence. So let's talk about how paraeducators can make that happen. So what is your role here, paraeducators? Here are 4 concrete ways you can use UDL today. Strategy 1 is the no thank you bite approach. If you've ever sat at the dinner table with kids, you know the no thank you bite. Before you decide you don't like something, you have got to try it. The same applies here. Before students can truly choose a tool or strategy, they need to try it. For example, if the classroom you're supporting offers the option of a podcast, students will likely not choose it if they've never made one. Offer to circulate and support the class so the teacher can demonstrate how to make a podcast. Or if you're familiar with the technology, ask if it would be helpful if you work with a small group who wants to try to record the podcast for the first time. Encourage the student or students you support to give it a try to see if they like it. And when they're done, ask them what worked, what didn't. The next time it's on the menu, they'll know whether it fits their strengths. That's the key. UDL is not about free-for-all choices. It's about informed, supported choices, and you can support the students you serve by doing just that. Strategy 2 is about offering micro choices. Big decisions can feel really overwhelming, so shrink the decision making. Like if teachers provide options to students, you can reframe them to help them chunk the decisions. So let's say you make these decisions one by one. First, would you like me to read with you, or would you rather listen to the audio? Then you can ask them, do you want to sit or do you want to stand while you work? And then pose, would a graphic organizer or sticky notes help you plan your response? All of these are really low lift everyday choices. But when we stack them all together and say to students, decide how you're going to learn today, it can be really overwhelming. So when we chunk those choices, it can help build trust, lower stress, and send the message that students absolutely do have agency in how they learn. The third strategy is to fade support strategically. Fading support is all about knowing when to step back. Instead of jumping in when a student needs help, pause and give them time to think. Ask guiding questions like, where have we seen a problem like this before? Or why don't we look at the rubric together? The goal isn't to rescue students because they're fully capable of doing the work themselves. We just have to make sure to get the conditions right. The goal is to strengthen their problem-solving muscles and build the confidence that comes with figuring things out independently. One super powerful tool to help fade support is an independence scale. A simple scale might look like this. Level 4 is I do it with help. Level 3, I try it with hints. Level 2, I check the model. And level 1, I do it myself and self-check. You can say, all right, let's try to start with a level 3 today, and then let's see if we can get to a level 2 by the end of class. So this allows students to think about the need for your support, but ultimately trying to move towards them doing the work without so much support. Strategy 4 is to document what works. This one is deceptively simple, but really powerful. Keep a running log for the students you work with. Nothing fancy. Just jot down what supports helped a student stay focused, what formats led to success, or what tools they gravitated towards, or what tools helped them to be more independent. Then you can share that log with the student and the teacher, and maybe suggest that the teacher share the log with the student's parents or guardians. Suddenly, you're not just supporting a student in the moment, but you're also collaborating to design more inclusive learning in the long run. And that is absolutely teamwork makes the dream work, and everyone will be so grateful for your support. So in this episode, we discussed that UDL is not just a framework for teachers. It's for anyone supporting learners, and that includes you, my dear paraeducators. If you're a para, you're probably the first who notices when a student is zoning out, when they might need a brain break, or when they're ready to try a new tool. And in those moments, when you offer flexibility, scaffold support, and encourage choice while also fading that support, you're designing for inclusion and independence, which is key. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of The Education Table. I'll see you next time with more stories, research, and real-world UDL strategies that you can use tomorrow. Until then, onward.